What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayona. For you guys who are new here, I'm the business owner of Soyaya candles, and what we do here on this channel is talk about all things candles. And I kind of want to start talking about a little bit other things too, but for now we're just going to keep it candles. I don't want to throw you guys off, or for the ones who did come here strictly just for candles. So thank you guys for tuning in today. I know it's been a minute since I've been back. I can't keep up with my editing. I really can't. I have way too much going on right now, and I'm trying my best. I really am. I truly love making content for you guys, but it's so hard for me to keep up with the editing parts of it. I just can't edit as fast as I'm recording the videos. I really am trying to shoot for one video a week. I know that's that was the initial goal here. We're gonna try to get it pushing, okay? So today is Sunday, February 20th. So happy Sunday, guys. I wanted to share some of the tips that I did as a candle maker, starting off in the beginning, things that I still do today to make sure that I'm having a strong, concentrated scented candle. So with that being said, you guys already know I got my handy dandy notes as always. So when I'm looking down reading, I'm just looking at my pinpoints, because if not, I'm gonna just talk for hours and hours and hours, okay? Hours and hours. So I can go on and on and on. So first things first is I wanted to let you guys know that the restock is coming up. I have not set a date for it, not to be cliche or anything, but I really was shooting for February the 22nd, because when are we gonna see that date again? I just felt so compelled to that date. I was really trying, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it, just because I still have, candles are made, all that good stuff is done, but the back end stuff, making sure my boxes are good, make sure I got packaging and all that good stuff. I'm still taking all of my own pictures, and because I do have 9 scents coming out for you guys, some that you've seen before and then some are new scents, I'm having to retake all of the pictures again. I'm adding in some new stuff, but we'll talk about that in another video, and I'll showcase all of the products to you guys. I am still gonna try to shoot for the February 22nd, but because I work full-time and I'm in school full-time, it's very hard for me to manage my time and spread myself thin that way. So the weekends is really my days where I focus strictly on candles. So I'm gonna try my very best to get the candles out on the 22nd. And if I don't, no big deal, but I'm just girl, you can't let that date pass you by. You really can't. So I'm gonna try my best to do that. But anyways, let's just get right into the video, okay guys? So this is in no particular order, but these are things that I think as a candle maker we tend to forget, and we have to go back to the drawing board and make sure that we're doing these steps so that we're getting a strong scented candle. So the first thing I have here is make sure your wax is to the proper melting point. So with that being said, I know a lot of us will melt our wax and we think that, okay, it's melted, it's good, but you have to make sure you're checking the temperature on your wax to make sure that you're getting to its fullest melting point. So that way, when you put in your fragrance oil, that it's binding together. If you're not getting it as hot as it needs to be, there's no way that your fragrance oil is going to be able to combine. There are certain temperatures that you can get certain waxes. And I know for a lot of people, they have kind of tested the waters and gone a little higher than that or gone a little less. For me, I've gone a little bit higher, and I'm going to talk about why you have to be careful with that. But it's worked for me, and I found that getting my fragrance oil to the highest temperature, which I get it to about 190. I told you guys before, I think I did 200 as well. And it's literally has been a game changer for my candles. They smell amazing. It's worked well for me. So always make sure that you are researching what is the hottest temperature that you can get your wax, because that is literally going to be a big deal. It matters so much. Don't just think, oh, if you, whatever method you're using, that's why I tell you guys, if you can, please invest in a Presto pot at some point down in your journey, because not only that, you can set it to the certain temperature that you wanted to get. You're still using your thermometer to check the temperature, because you can't just be too sure, and you can't just depend on the Presto pot to be that temperature that it says it is. But it's going to get your wax a lot hotter than the double boiler method. So That's just my little take on that. So make sure you're getting your wax to the hottest temperature that you can possibly get it. Number 2, using scents that are concentrated versus subtle. This one is a huge deal because I know for me, when I first started out, I would be making a candle and I was using like really soft, subtle scents. And I'm like, okay, I cured this candle. It still doesn't smell like anything. What am I doing wrong? You have to make sure that you're using scents that are concentrated, that smell strong. And the only way that you're gonna know that is you're gonna have to test out different fragrance oils. I know I told you guys don't go out here buying all these different fragrance oils, and you still shouldn't, but you're gonna have to start learning your scents. Learn what mix well with what goes well with what, and that all of those things really do matter. So if you're using more of a subtle scent and you add a 12% fragrance oil, that doesn't mean that this scent is going to smell stronger for you or is going to give you a better hot throw. What it means is you probably just clogged your wick because you did a little bit too much. If the scent is subtle, guys, it doesn't matter how much fragrance oil or the percentage or whatever that you use. If it's a subtle scent, it's still going to give you a subtle hot throw. So keep that in mind. Your scents of your candles matter. Your fragrance oils matter. So if you want a super strong scent, you're going to have to use well concentrated fragrance oils, and you're going to have to find a company that works well for you. I know there's been so many of the popular candle scents that just didn't work for me. I didn't like how they smelled. It wasn't giving me that really nice hot throw that I was looking for. So you're gonna have to do your research, and this is the point where you're still in your testing. I am still always constantly testing fragrance oils. Like even today, like even though I have 9 scents that I'm coming out for you guys, the summer months are coming up, so I'm gonna have to be putting out those spring and summer scents. So I'm constantly trying out new scents. So always make sure you're getting a concentrated scent if you want to have a good hot throw of your candle. Number 3, test different wicks because they matter. Y'all, I can't express this enough. When I first started my candle making journey, I researched the best wicks, or what the most popular one for this specific scent, for this specific wax. Back then, I wasn't melting my wax to the hottest potential melting point that it could be. And I know that played a huge part in it too. But I went and I mixed this candle up and I'm like, okay, it smells real good. I let the candle sit and it smelled like nothing once I lit it. I'm like, okay. So I went back to the drawing board. I tried out some different wicks, and finally, once I kind of incorporated all those different things that I just told you, like getting my wax to the hottest melting point, making sure I was incorporating only scents that were concentrated if I wanted that really strong scent, and that literally changed the game. So you have to make sure that you're testing wicks, because what worked for somebody else may not work for you. Like I know we get in those candle groups and we like to see what everyone else is doing, what worked for them, but I can literally give you the formula, but you'll go home and you'll try it and it still won't work for you. And that's because somewhere down the line, you're gonna do something different. You're not gonna be able to mimic every single step that's being shown to you. Get your own flow, and you're gonna have to figure out for yourself what works best for you, because I literally would look and see what everybody else is doing, and I'm like, okay, she did it this way, boom, let me try it this way, boom, fail. Boom, okay, so he tried it this way, let me try it this way, boom, fail. All right, so let me try my own way with the knowledge that I've researched and put that into play and see how that works for me, boom, voila. You know, so sometimes you just have to go with what works best for you, because once you get in the groove of how you do things, it's gonna be totally different from what you research. Getting research just gives you pinpoints of what you should do. It shouldn't be, okay, let me go copy exactly how she did it. You know what I mean? So kind of just do your own research. And I had to research my own wicks. And then I came across the CDN wicks. And then I realized, okay, so these wicks are slow burning, which means gives you a longer lasting candles. I now double wick my candles because I use jars that are 4 inches across, and it literally changed the game for me. So wicks matter. You have to try out different wicks. I've tried out every single wicks that there is, and I'm telling you, only like 4 of them worked for me. And it's so crazy because the wicks that work best for a lot of people didn't work well for me. I don't know what I was doing differently, but it just didn't work for me. And also too, I think I just didn't like the way that they worked. So you're gonna have to just test. That's really, I know I'm gonna say that in every single video, but that is how you're going to get the best scented candle, is you're gonna have to just test. All right. I know I spent a little bit of time on wicks because wicks matter, y'all. They really, really do, because, and it's gonna go kind of to my next point here. Try different percentage loads. And what I mean by that is, for certain wax, you can get, you can use a certain percentage. So I use virgin coconut soy wax, and best for virgin coconut soy wax is to get 8 to 10 or 8 to 11%. So I have to make sure that so for each candle that I'm using, I have a different percentage load, because some of my scents don't require me to use 10% fragrance oil. Like, I will literally knock you out with a headache. And I'll talk about that in another video. I was telling you guys before that the scents are starting to give me like crazy headaches because I'm constantly making so many different scents, and I'm literally inhaling fragrance oil. But we'll get into that a little later as well. But you have to try out different fragrance loads, because certain fragrance loads work differently for certain wicks. So I could use maybe a CDN 3 wick, and then I try an 8% fragrance load for a more concentrated scent, because it doesn't require that much, because the scent is already so strong on its own. But for the most part, I do use 10 to 11% because a lot of my scents required me to. So you just have to try it. You have to test it out. I remember when I first started out, I tried every single percentage. I did 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then I had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wicks. You know what I mean? So all the different size wicks for all the different fragrance oils, and just test them out, and you're gonna see, okay, what is burning, how it's burning, which one's mushrooming, which one flame is too high, which one is dancing, which one is sooting too much, which one is tunneling. You have to, like, it matters. And I remember someone asked me in another video that he wasn't getting a strong scented candle. I'm kind of forgetting how the conversation went, but I believe he said he wasn't getting a strong scented candle, but he was using a very high percentage load. And that is something too that you're only going to know by testing, is just because you used a high percentage load does not mean that you are going to get a stronger scented candle, because by doing that and doing it too much fragrance oil for what cost for that, whatever wick that you use or whatever wax that you use, you can now clog the wick, and that could be why you're not smelling anything, from using way too much fragrance oil. So I know in the beginning I was like, I'm just gonna pour until my ancestors tell me to stop pouring. And granted, that works for cooking, not candle making. So I was just pouring. And then I'm like, okay, why don't this candle smell like anything? I just poured all of this fragrance oil in here. Like, what's happening? And it was because I was clogging up the wick, because that particular scent did not require that huge fragrance load. So you have to be mindful. And I'm telling you guys, and I know that you want to just hear the answers of what to do, but you're not going to know any of this until you test it yourself, because I don't know what scents you use, so I can't tell you, oh, use this fragrance load or use this percentage load. None of these things can be given to you. You have to test. I promise you, y'all, the answers, like, you can literally, even too, like, I'll go and I'll see somebody with my similar scent, and I'm like, okay, I know where she got that from, because a lot of people don't change the names of their scents. You know where they got it from, and you realize that you have the same scent. So I'm like, okay, let me see how she's doing it, and then I'll do it that way, and then it still wouldn't work for me. So you know what I mean? Like, people do different things too. A lot of people mix scents. That's another thing that will literally separate you from a lot of the candle makers out here. Instead of just using the scent that's sent to you, start learning what scents bind with what, start learning what scents mix well with what, and start mixing your scents, because you may have more of a subtle scent and then you add a more concentrated scent, and then now boom, you have this strong scented candle because that concentration just kind of up that more subtle scent. So mixing scents always is going to be a hit, because you definitely can up your scents a little bit more, those subtle scents, by adding in a more concentrated fragrance oil. So keep that in mind. So our next one is, this one should be a given, but I know y'all don't be doing this. Make sure you are blending for 2 minutes. When you are mixing your wax and your fragrance oil, or you're mixing your fragrance oil with your wax, make sure you stir for 2 minutes. I even know some candle sites will tell you to mix to 3 to 5 minutes. Hey, I think the longer the better. You have to realize you are trying to bind a fragrance oil with a wax, and that's why you get your wax to the hottest that it can get, so that they can combine together. Like boom, it's chemistry. You have to mix those fragrance oils, because if you don't, you can literally cause the fragrance oil to separate from the wax, and you're not gonna get a scented candle that way, and you're gonna start a fire because you got fragrance oil that's probably resting at the top of your candle. So you have to make sure that you are mixing for 2 minutes. You have to do it. In the beginning, I don't think that I was doing 2 minutes. I was doing like stir, 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 and then I was like, okay, boom, and candle wouldn't smell like anything. Now I'm making sure I always stir for 2 minutes. I look down at the time and I get to stir, and then I look again. It had been 3-4 minutes that has passed, because I know that me mixing this candle is literally plays a huge pivotal part in the candle making. So you always have to make sure that you are stirring in that fragrance oil for 2 minutes. Okay, y'all, like, please do that. Another thing I wanted to mention to you guys, I don't think I said this, but when you are getting your wax, and this goes back to heating your wax to the highest melting point, or whatever melting point that you can get it, the hottest you can get it, make sure that you are checking the flash point on your fragrance oil, because it could get dangerous if you don't, okay? I think a lot of us already know this, but for you guys who are new, make sure the flash point on your fragrance oil is not there just because your candle can become combustible. So you have to be sure that you are checking the flash points on your fragrance oil. And last but not least, y'all, because this one matters, Lord Jesus, it matters, and it matters, okay? It really, really matters. You have to let your candles cure for 2 weeks. I know a lot of you use different wax than what I use, which virgin coconut soy wax, it calls for you to have to cure for 2 weeks. And with the methods that I'm using now, I literally can smell my candles, baby. After 3-4 days, the cold throw I walk past, I'm like, oh my God, it's literally lighting up the room in here. But you have to make sure you're letting it cure for the full 2 weeks. I do not sell a candle unless it's cured for the full 2 weeks, because my customers are trusting me being the expert, that I'm doing everything right. And I know that you guys want to sell your candles, you want to make it, you want to get it out there to your customers, but you have to make sure that you are letting it cure for 2 weeks. Not just because you're being impatient. You're going to give your customer a candle that's not going to smell like anything. I promise you. So you have to make sure you're letting it cure for 2 weeks, because the cold throw and the hot throw is going to be unmatched. Like, you have to let it cure. You have to be patient. And I promise you, y'all, I am the most impatient person I know, okay? I'm very impulsive. I just, like, soon as I make a candle, it literally be staring at me. It's like, girl, light me up. light me up. Like, I know you want to, and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. So you really have to wait. I have done it plenty of times where I'm like, okay, I mixed it. I let it sit. The cold throw is literally kicking to me. Like, I can smell it when I walk in the room. I go to light the thing up. It don't smell like nothing. It's silence. And I'm like, now you was just doing all of that, just sitting over there by yourself. And now that I come in here to light you up, you don't want to smell like anything. And that's because I was impatient. And so what do I have to do? I have to just let it sit for the full 2 weeks, come back to it, boom. I really still have not studied all of the science of to why it has to sit that long, but it's all about just like it binding together, getting those molecules to mix in together. Like, I don't really know the chemistry behind it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So y'all, let your candles sit for 2 weeks. I know some of you may use different wax that only calls for you to let it sit for 2 days, 3 days. I know I use Pillar of Bliss wax when I'm making like molded candles, and I let those sit for 2 to 3 days. You light it up, it's gonna fill up the whole room because that's just a different wax. So I do know different wax calls for different things, but I've tried like 7 to 8 different waxes, and that still isn't even close to as how many waxes there are out there. All of them that I've used, waiting 2 weeks has always like been the thing that I've tried. It works. I don't know what the science is. I don't know who decided 2 weeks. I don't know, but it works. So let your candles cure for 2 weeks, y'all. I know when you're first starting out, you're just ready to get those candles rolling. You ready to get your website up. You ready to sell these candles. You like, hey, like I got this, but I promise you're going to get a repeated customer over and over and over if you give them a better product versus giving them a candle that doesn't smell like anything. And now they questioning you because it's like, okay, I thought this candle was supposed to do something, So it's always best to put out a product that you truly, truly can stand on and stand behind versus putting out a product because you rushed it and you were so impatient, and now you're not going to get any returning customers, Just be super mindful. Like, patience is key. Like, I'm telling you, like, if you have patience, you're going to create this awesome product and you're going to have people coming back to you over and over and over again. Take me, for example, it's been almost 2 months since I've had any candles on the market because every time I went to go buy my product, vendor had been out of stock. So I couldn't have candles for 2 months. Now I could have given people a half candle that I really, it wasn't really my best work, but I still would have probably made a couple dollars off them here and there. Or do I want to just sit back, relax, be patient, go back to the drawing board, see what else I can come up with during that time that I'm just sitting, making sure I'm going over my inventory, thinking about the different products that I can come out with, and just making sure that I am having integrity behind my business because my name is on this. Like, when people talk about my candles and they go and say, hey girl, I got this candle from Soyaya, that's me. So I want people to always be like, oh yeah, girl, I loved her candles and it was awesome. I'm going to go back to her versus, it didn't really hit like I thought it would, So really, really, really make sure that you are being patient when it comes to your business and know that it's going to work out. Just have patience. And as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I know we're supposed to be getting videos out every week to you guys, and I promise I'm going to try to do so much better, but don't hold me to it, okay? And thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Bye.